Okay. Hello, guys, and welcome to this. Okay, the Doomspire video. I just want to tell you a feeling that I had around the start of the pandemic. I would usually go outside to the basketball court to play, but as this pandemic has started, the nearby basketball courts are all closed. I thought I thought it wouldn't be for too long, but I realized that the courts weren't gonna go back in a long time, so I had to resort to something else. Because without the court, I have no place to feel competitive. I wanted challenges that included trying to be better than people or outplaying people, even if I knew that it would be a long time till that happens. I wanted something to try hard at, and when I do try hard, I also want to feel that it was fun. Basketball was what that was, but now I do not have basketball. So I'll show you what I did to get back to feeling competitive. So I ended up playing more Super Doomspire than normal. I was a pretty decent player before the pandemic, but not close to my level of play now. Playing online games always gave me the interactive and fun feeling. So that's the check off for this. The interactiveness and the fun. And there are many skilled players that I've met that I want to be as good as, or at least have a chance of playing against. I worked my way up, formulating new strategies that are possible to multiplayer. So I wanted to manage my crown, which is the in-game currency. So like a lot of other players started buying the more needed weapons, and I ended up with my first ever fix. Let's set it up here. Okay, it wasn't a really a good set back then, or I just really sucked at the game. But my first rocket on the fifth set was the Lunar Dragon. What I saw while buying it is it just looked cool, but mainly I saw that it had high damage, which isn't usually the best like thing to look at when you're selecting a weapon. I already bought that weapon for the pandemic. Then I also bought a Colossal Blade, which the reason why I bought it was because it had a big range, it had a wide range, and it dealt most of my damage. It had a skill that does 60 damage. I'll show it here. 60. I mean, yeah, you don't see the damage, but that's the skill. And here's the normal attack. Deals 40, so two hits, and an opponent could be dead. And my bomb was the Shadow Bomb, which I thought was overpowered because it made you invisible, as I'll show it here. It would work sometimes on opponents, but some smart players can just easily spot it. So right now, I do not really use that. I also bought the Happy Bar, which gave me an extra jump. It was basically like a throwable trampoline. You throw it and you walk on it, it will get you an upward move. I wanted to target the weapon too, because I saw that a few people were jumping on it while midair. It just awed me so much back then. Now it's pretty easy to do after a bit of practice. And the last weapon is the all famous uh, Shadow Clone. I saw people teleporting and stuff, so I wanted to buy that weapon. Now to the shop of the game. In Doomspire, we have a government. Basic government. Basically, just the developers of the game. They also like changing what is on the market and the values of what's on the market. Here's how the prices work. Most prices stay the same for a weapon, and only sometimes has a weapon gone expensive than its normal price. For example, we have events like Christmas, Halloween, Easter, and many others have new exclusive items that only appear in the store for a specific season. There are reskins of already existing weapons, but at a higher price. Basically, these weapons do like exactly the same thing as another weapon, but it's more expensive because it looks cooler. It doesn't make sense, right? But anyway, here's an example. Basically, a mistake I did when I was pretty new to the game. As I explained earlier, I thought the Hatarang, this weapon, looked cool, and that it seemed pretty useful, jumping midair or setting up a jump so that you have space. But I realized that there was actually a cheaper weapon that did exactly the same thing. Here's the boomerang. I'll show it to you too. So as I throw this, as you can see, it's literally the same. So there's an example. For the seasonal items, there are also skins there, these skins, but there are some unique ones too. Uh, One reskin would be the spooky staff, which is a weapon I still use today. Now, this is a reskin of the hotspot, which already had initially. But at the time of the Halloween update, I've already bought every other weapon. So I was able to buy the skin for no exact reason. There are also these new release weapons, which are unique weapons, not skins, which have their own abilities. Usually, I mean, these weapons aren't like those seasonal ones. These are just some random weapons that came out in an update. So in the first like month of these new release weapons, uh, they sell for like a lot. Like for example, the the laser cannon which I have now, I still pretty much use this sometimes. It sold for like a lot. It sold for like more than 10,000. Now it's like only like 7,500. But the price is not the major factor in changing value here. What is important was when a weapon gets nerfed or buffed. Buffing means they make a weapon better. Nerfing means they make a weapon weaker. When a weapon is buffed, sometimes people start using these weapons. But when it is nerfed, people start complaining a bit and stop using the specific weapon. But these are all just to balance the fact that one weapon or a few get overused, meaning too much players are using it, while having an unfair advantage, thus causing players to adjust to these changes that the developers make. Nerfing can also lessen the appeal to new players that want stronger weapons. So here, the shop here is pretty random. Like you can't just select the weapons that you want. For example, I know tomorrow I'll have, for example, for say, enough coins to buy this one weapon I want, which I saw in the shop today. But tomorrow, when I look back at the shop, it's gone. So then I won't get to buy it. So the shop shows you a bunch of different weapons every day, or yeah, every day. So you have to probably wait for a weapon that you want. So like I have enough money to buy like Hatarang, but the Hatarang is not displayed in the shop, which means I'd have to wait. So yeah, patience is also a factor in this game. You need to wait to buy the weapons that you want. Now, I'll take you to some physical strategies that use my actual fingers and how to do them. Alright, battle strategy. These are geometry. Very pogger. In this game, we have 5 weapons, all with its own use. First is the launcher. It's a projectile that moves in a straight direction. So I'll show you now. There is one rocket which falls and has an arc type movement. So I'm gonna show you that too. The Star Blaster and the Bombardier. Star Blaster is a skin, it's more expensive, but if you're new to the game, you'd rather buy the Bombardier. Yeah. But most, I mean, like literally all rockets fly in a straight movement. But thing that can differ is the blast radius, as you could, for example, hit the floor here and it would deal a few damage, but wouldn't deal the same damage as when you make a direct hit to the opponent. What also varies is the reload time, like any weapon. They all have different reload times. And the projectile speed. The, the fastest projectile from our rocket would be the kitty launcher or the scope shot. Kitty launcher is just more expensive, You know how it goes. Expensive weapons, expensive skins. So, they're, if I show you now, this usually one shots the opponents, but it flies really fast. So some people do not have the reaction time to dodge it. Also, rockets, you could use them as like leverage to jump. I use like the hoss hug or the hoop staff because this gives an extra jump. It's one of the highest jumping. It's the second highest jumping rocket. The first would be the arm cannon, but I find it difficult to use because I don't know, it's just difficult to use. Next, we have swords. There are many different sword functions that vary from different swords. As of now, I use a non-launch sword with the skill of literally yeeting people and send them flying, which we all call the home run. But the most common sword here is the launch swords, which it gives you a dashing forward motion and usually deals 35 damage. And well, 35 damage, but some weapons are different. Like Vox Caliber here is a nerf weapon. Its lunge is pretty short now and it only deals like 20 something damage. It's not always 35. You'd have to lunge mid-air if you want to deal 35 damage. There's also the Shadow Blade, which would also deal 50 damage instead of 35. So a lot of people like using that sword. It also has a really long launcher. Next is the bomb. When you place this down and stand on top of it, it will launch pretty high, making travel a bit easy. Then we have the ball. Mine isn't exactly a ball. It's a shadow shuriken. For the shadow shuriken, it doesn't have the same arc as a normal ball, and nor does it have the same ability. There's a difference between throwing a weapon, throwing a ball or charging it. Because when you throw it, it's at a less speed, and sometimes when you charge it, the different weapons have different, like, what do you call this, buffs when you charge it. For mine, it deals 100% more damage. So, as I throw it, it only deals 30. When I charge it or long press it, it deals 60. Normal balls would usually stun the opponent. Like, they'd ragdoll them, basically immobilizing them. They'd also receive a bunch of knockback. So, you get knocked back and you get stunned for a few seconds. There's also a ball that when you charge, the ragdoll time is increased by a bit. So a lot of people with good aim really like using this coconut. Next is trowel, which is used to build things. It would vary on what weapon it was. So, for example, I have the thrust. This builds in a straight direction. It's a very long but only one stud of width thing. You could place it on walls, on the floor. You could also climb on it. So it isn't just a flat surface. So as I'll try to display here, I'll do a wall save, which basically, if I want to save myself from a fall, if I find a wall somewhere, I can just quickly place the thrust and break my fall, so I won't fall to a void or something. And then an important part of the game is mobility. The meaning of this is your ability to keep moving so you don't get killed at the worst time possible. But having good mobility can, one, make you take less hits, travel faster, get to your shots, survive longer. My current set right now isn't too good at mobility. My rocket is, like I explained earlier, the second highest jumping rocket, and remote bomb which can detonate right as I throw it. So I charge this weapon, and then I hit the skill button. It would, yeah, it would launch me right away. The problem with the remote is it doesn't have a really high jump when you get blasted by it. Uh, the remote bomb, you'd have to probably like place two remote bombs at the same spot to get a higher jump. But another bonus to this remote bomb is you could use it as a tap because you can throw it directly at the opponent and explode it, which could deal some good damage. It would also even one shot if you aimed it properly. So I usually use the hoss hog or jump on the hoss hog so that I don't suffer when I try to escape from an enemy crowd. I usually only use the remote for flying in a forward motion while using the bat skill. Since its hitbox gets pretty broken or wide while flying, you could hit opponents in a fast forward motion. It takes some practice to consistently hit, but of course, I still miss a bunch of these. And sometimes I go over the edge of the map floor, but then sometimes I just fall off if I don't have anything to save myself, or if I fail to place a trust or something. There are other sets I could also mention here. A really mobile set is, well, people get mad at using this. The rocket that explodes midair, high damage, crystal blaster. And then there's the longest launch sword, which deals 50 damage. There's the also the remote bomb, which I already explained earlier. And next, the Hatarang, which I told you it would already launch you up, basically like a trampoline that you can throw. And the next is the truss, which no, not the truss. Next is the trampoline, which is a literal trampoline that you can place. It is on the travel spot of your weapons. With what which combined are really good at air stalling. So I show an example here. I could set up this trampoline, send me straight up, and then go somewhere else, use the Hatarang as extra leverage, and launch forward. So this could get you to far distances in a pretty quick way. There's also this attack combo I used to do. I'd set up the hat in front of me, go straight to it, and then jump, and then pounce down with the attacking rocket. So I'll also do it here. It would also have like a triangular shape, basically. Okay, so this is a separate recording. At this moment, my two friends were battling each other at the end of the game. They're pretty much ignoring me because they're busy fighting each other. So I grabbed it as an opportunity to try the move. So here I missed somehow, it was wide open. Don't know how I missed that. But then here's the one that hit. But as I'll play this in slow-mo, I didn't get the kill, but I did call off 50 damage there, so reversed it too. So there, 50 damage. So I didn't really get the kill after that. I did get the kill, but it wasn't mainly because of the rocket. It was because she fell off, and I dealt the previous damage before she died. So there, that's an example. Okay, you'll watch me die here, but okay, I'll explain this next clip. Okay, so it's actually staged. This one is staged because I couldn't really pull off in a real match because no one was actually chasing me as I was using the trampoline. So it's not something you can really force. It just happens in a match. So yeah, I had to just demonstrate one just to show what it's supposed to look like. Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate one of my favorite moves in the game. It's kind of broken, so look at this remote bomb. I set it up and I swing and launch. And then this guy isn't even close to me. And yet as I swing my bat, the ability still hits somehow. And then I hop back into place because things like this can happen. I grab another opportunity,
And that guy is also yeeted.
One thing I did learn was something that can make you have better focus, better reaction time, and better accuracy. It is actually scientifically proven that breathing patterns can actually help you win. They said having proper breathing habits deliver more oxygen to the brain. You might be asking, why would I need some decent oxygen to my brain? Having a good amount of oxygen up here helps the brain function properly. It also helps you to focus and will put your motor skills on top accuracy. You would become very alert and responsive with this, and it will surely help you be your best while in game. Very especially at a tight adrenaline moment where it's crucial for you to not make mistakes. Here in Super Doomspire, you could get caught in a scenario where it's just you against the whole team. So what exactly do I mean by breathing properly? Where here are some methods to somehow properly breathe. But before you do that, you need good posture, as a slouch back can prevent your diaphragm from expanding. Now, here are some ways to breathe. First, we have belly breathing. Copy me as we do this. We put our left hand above our chest and our right hand on our tongue. The goal is to breathe while expanding the diaphragm, which is the belly area, and make sure that your chest doesn't move. So you're supposed to do this 10 times before eating. So when you inhale, expand your stomach. Exhale. But yeah, so on. So you're supposed to notice that your belly is the one expanding instead of your chest. Yeah. Now there's another one. Uh, the inspiratory hold. During a breathe in, you could keep the air inside of you for at least 3 seconds. This will help with the effectiveness of breathing and the exchange with oxygen. So breathe in, so there. So keeping the air in for a bit can actually help. Those are first the breathe, which you do during either two other breathing techniques I mentioned earlier. You exhale while pressing your lips together, like you're going to whistle. Repeat after me. Yeah, just so that you can feel the pressure going through the lips, and yeah, it will also help you focus. And it will also get you on your own pace, so nothing is too fast or too slow for you. With these breathing techniques, you'll become an even more epic gamer. Although these are just a few techniques, you could also look up others. I also would want to warn you of the possible inconveniences that are present in most competitive online games. I'll tell you something about Doomspire's community. Well, if I told you that this community is perfect, I'd be lying. Every community has its own flaws, and most of the time, it is about people who can't take losses and are way too cocky when they win. Sometimes some toxic things happen. When a game mechanic is being abused to the extent that those types of players are annoying to fight against. Prejudice exists, but in a more minor scale, and it is present in most online games. We also have players just bullying others for no reason, calling them noobs, which means dumb or unskilled. Even if it was true or not about a person, it is still pretty not a nice thing to say. I actually fought a few of those people before. and it's mostly when I outplay them in a match or a few. And when they kill me at least once, they'd be so proud of it and laugh at me. Well, there's a pretty easy solution to that. You simply just ignore them. Or if you really want to teach them a lesson or get them to stop, uh, you spend time targeting the person if you think you're capable just to get them to stop. Because once they've had enough of being proven wrong, they rage quit or leave the game. There are also people who overuse certain weapons to their advantage. The problem with this is just that people see themselves as a dominant player, but sometimes the only real reason that they're strong is because of the weapon. One weapon that is very hated for this are usually the bolters. It can aim exactly at a target, and a user doesn't even have to try to aim. He just he or she just has to have enough block to place it. Users could spawn in two turrets, so you'd have to take time to destroy the turrets, while a dude is constantly attacking you. When these turrets hit you, it immobilizes and knocks you back, making it pretty overpowered. This would also cause a lot of arguments in one server, as the player doesn't stop abusing that one weapon. Competitive players respect and focus on skills, not deadly weapons that give too much of an advantage. Personally, I'm one of those people who'd get mad at the turret spammers. Us players can dodge them, but sometimes, no matter how smart or hard you move, you could still get hit by these turrets. These users also get called noobs as well because when you use these weapons like that, you are perceived as a player with a lack of skill. This is a common occurrence in Doomspire, but you will end up learning how to deal with it. This is all what I've experienced and learned during my time playing. It's been a whole year for me of constantly playing this one game. Remember that you also have limits. Give yourself a proper time for play because overdoing it is not going to be good for your health anymore. And I want to tell you that with every game you're playing right now, just have fun. You will always be at your best when you enjoy.